So, the dismantling of critical U.S. government programs like USAID, the Department of Education, Medicaid, alongside the tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and Europe, these things are not about strengthening the economy. They're about funding tax cuts for billionaires. And as Trump's erratic economic policies push the country closer and closer to a recession, the ultra-wealthy stand poised to scoop up devalued assets, bringing us one step closer to a true oligarchy, where a handful of billionaires control a majority of the nation's wealth and resources. But beyond its domestic consequences, Trump's chaotic economic maneuvering is damaging U.S. credibility on the world stage. The perception is growing that the American economy is subject to the whims of its leader, who engages in reckless trade wars with allies. Wars that may have no actual strategy. Take Trump's tariffs on Canada. The stated justification? To stop the flow of fentanyl across the northern border. But here's the reality. Less than 1% of fentanyl seized at the U.S. border comes from Canada. Less than 1%. So this isn't about fentanyl. It's about economic coercion. Trump has openly suggested that crippling Canada's economy will make annexation by the United States seem like the only viable path to financial relief for Canadian families. The Trump vision? Canada as the 51st state. Now, this is not diplomacy. This is the rhetoric of empire. And Trump's condescension towards Canada mirrors Putin's rhetoric towards Ukraine before the 2022 invasion. It was about a dismissal of sovereignty, a denial of national identity, and a desire to dominate. But instead of making Canada more vulnerable, he has awakened this sleeping giant of Canadian nationalism. I mean, Canadians are not Americans. As Prime Minister Trudeau stated, they never will be. Canadians have their own culture, traditions, and worldview. And now, many Canadians are actually registering firearms for the first time, a metric we can track because, unlike in the U.S., firearms registration is mandatory in Canada. I have friends in Canada telling me plainly that they feel like they have to prepare for war with the U.S. This is how deep the damage runs. You know, it takes decades to build strong alliances, but only minutes, hours, or days